Hey, I'm Alex Okrushko. I'm a principal software engineer, core team member of NgRx team, and a Google developer expert in Angular. I created this course because I want engineers to learn about latest optimizations in Angular, advanced UI techniques, and state management. In this course, we're going to cover next generation rendering and performance, some of the advanced UI patterns and dependency injection. We're going to touch on the enterprise state management with SignalStore and how to use RxJS in that context. And finally, we're going to wrap it up with testing with Vitest. Now go build high-performance, scalable, and maintainable Angular applications. So we have this upcoming events label here, right? There it is. Let's change this label to be a variable, but we can see title, right? Something like that. And this variable, say it's not signal title, right? Like this is what we've been doing a lot pre-signal time, right? It's basically just properties in here. And again, let's just do constructor, and in a constructor we'll set the timeout, and after 2 seconds I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna update this title. Oh, see, I'm very there's already a habit to do the set. Which says not upcoming events, but we'll say all events or something like that. All right. So we'll save it. Let's see this upcoming events, all events. All right. Let's see again, upcoming events. Okay. So this changed because we have the data came in. Let's do not 2 seconds, but 5 seconds. All right. So it got refreshed because we have the data came in that updated the signals. But right now you see the upcoming events didn't change. Why did it not change? Why did it not change?
So timeout isn't patched.
Yeah, so timeout is not patched. We're in the Zoneless app. Timeout is not patched, and we didn't have any signal changes, right? So it basically is like I'm ignoring nothing's patched, nothing's notifying Angular is like, hey, do the change detection. Now, if we change this title to signal, right? We change this to signal, and then we need to do the parentheses here because that's how we read the signal. And then in here, instead of assigning, we're going to do the set. Right? Let's see this again in action. All events. So this changed. Why this changed? Signal notify the scheduler like, hey, I got a new value. And it got all the way up and rechecked everything and updated this value. And we have this component. This one wasn't on push, it's just zoneless. But it doesn't really matter because we removed the zone.js out of the equation. Now, unless there's a signal change, input change, or there's an event coming outside of this component, it won't do anything. So tab state, so we're going to introduce tabs in our event details. So this is we refactored just this one. Here we'll have different tabs. I'm going to show you another technique. And this is called local state, provided state, so it's not a root state. So we're going to create the service. I'm going to create it in the shared as well, in a shared folder here. Let's do shared folder. We're going to new folder, and we're going to have it tabs. So we'll create the tabs common component, but this common component will have a service that works with it as well. So we'll have a tab state TS. So this tab states TS will be our injectable, but this injectable is not provided in root. This is something we haven't seen yet. This is the first time we'll use this. So we'll have this tab state, and it's not provided in root. And this tab state will keep track of the active tab. So we're going to add the tabs for speakers, location, and general description, I think. So just like what anything would do now, we'll keep it as a signal or string, right, with, say, initial value of that. And then we'll have the activate, and then we'll have the label here for the activation. So we'll say, hey, this is now the new active label. Label string. So we'll just do this active tab set for whatever label we're going to be turning on. So this service will be attached to the tab group, and we'll keep track which tab is active. Let's create the tab group first. So in our shared tabs, I'm going to create new file. We'll call it the tab. Tab and tab group. So tab ts, and then also new file tab group ts. So that basically completes all of our shared component, which will be our tab group. Let's start with the tab first. So let's create this component. And again, this will have the component, will have the selector of app tab. And right away we'll do export class, which is called tab. Again, we don't call them tab components anymore, right? This is something we mentioned that there's changes how style guide for Angular 20 or 21 plus does things and no longer suffixes things with component. Same for our files, we no longer suffix them with component. So we have the selector for this, and we'll have the template. And the template, we have that if we have an active tab, if this tab is active, then it'll render it. So what is active? What is active? How do we know that this is the active tab? For that, we'll inject this service, or this injectable. I'm using them interchangeably, service, injectable. That is really injectable, right? So we inject this injectable tab state. And then we also, by the way, have a read-only label for this, for each tab. This is something that comes as an input, so we can differentiate them between each other, distinguish them. Okay, and this will be a required string, something that we learned in the Angular intermediate Angular course. Now, our isActive is a computed state. It is derived state. And this is the isActive, which is our computed. Computed. And what is it active? What is the computed? Is it active? So our tab state keeps the active tab. And that's what we're going to be comparing with. So if the label that we have is the same as the active tab, that means it's an active one. And the beauty, again, of the computed is that if the active tab signal changes, or this label changes, right, then it will recompute this computed value. So this label, there you go. Now we can have active, and if it is active, then we'll create and produce the content here. So that means that the app tab, once again, is one of those composable elements that will have content projected into it. Now let's do some refactoring. So here we go. We'll just private. Do we need a private? We don't need private. We can just read only CartStore, which we won't need a service anymore. CartStore, inject CartStore. All right, we have it. We don't need to add to the providers because the CartStore is provided en route. So it's not a local state, it's global state. So we inject it in the event details. And by the way, yeah, let's do it here first. So then in the CartStore, instead of CartService as ticket, we'll do CartStore add ticket. But what do we have here? Add to cart. Add to cart. And then it'll take strings, not so, let's say, yes. So we need to provide, we need to wrap it a little bit. It's event ID. That's the event ID. We could have just provided the string directly if we really want to, just to say we have the same thing, right? We can provide the string directly. So we could have had pretty much the same API. So now this adds to the cart. And again, notice there's no load here, right? No load. That was not part of what is allowed to be used. Okay, so that's how we add. And now let's go back to our header. Header. And in the header, instead of using the CartService, we're going to use the CartStore. CartStore. And in the CartStore here, we have the count. It's exposed, right? Count is there. Count is part of our computed. All right, let's see it working. All right, looks like it's working. Gonna get to our network requests. And let's clear this. Here it is. I love waterfall here. So if you don't have waterfall enabled for the, I highly recommend. Look at it. It's so nice to always see what's exactly happening. So anyhow, let's clear it. Let's do the buy event now. Buy ticket. All right, we got a ticket. It's going. The first one is pre-flight. It's just checking if I can call this. I can see it's going, right? So but if I do multiple clicks, it's not doing anything, right? So now, because we chose the exhaust map strategy, we can really control that. And even if it's, let's make it fail. Let's make it fail to be very fair to this. When we have the error, this is post add to cart. This is the API that we're going to call, so something like that. Let's make it fail. All right, let it burn. There you go. Boom. Oops. It failed really spectacularly. Now, if we click multiple, right, it's still ignoring us, and it's only tries. See, it's like 22, 23, and then it fails. There you go, right? One thing that we could have done before as well, and I talked about it, we can kind of disable state or change this. We have this part of our store. Let's use it, right? So let's just get this guy here to the original state. So we have the pending. Let's just use that pending as well. So in our add to cart, when we're adding things to cart here, where our buy button is, or this is the event details. Sorry. Event details, loading map. Here's the buy tickets, right? What we can do is this button to click, yes, and you can say if, so this is when we buying this, we can say if CartStore is pending, and this comes from request status, with request status that added the is pending computed. I can say it's syncing. Instead, I will say buy tickets. And moreover, we can also disable this element. So it's not even clickable. Disabled when the CartStore is pending. All right. And combine to disabled because it should be disabled. Should be disabled. Oh, disable. There you go. Perfect. Let's get to our app. It's hot mode reloaded, so it's good. Let's do buy tickets. See syncing and it's disabled. We need to add some styling to disable, but I can't click it. There you go.